people do get confused about the difference between right to work and a right to work check.
Skipping a right to work check is like paying for a holiday on your credit card. You know, you get the tan, right? You get the hits, you get the work done straight away, but it's a long winter. It's a long winter paying off the consequences.
I like that.
You still have the tattoo, the tan will be long gone, all right? And you'll still be paying for it. It doesn't matter. You are responsible for carrying out the right to work check if you're a business owner.
I feel like we're one of the only companies that are actually trying to educate people on this. Final countdown. You know, because you've got...
Cash. What did he sing a song about prison? Wrote it in prison.
He wrote it in prison?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think he was in for right to work checks, was he? I've got a good song for right to work checks. I'm an Englishman in New York. Whoa, I'm an alien. Are all yours just Akon and
A little
being
bit
in
of
prison?
Akon. I do a little bit of Akon.
I'm next going to say smack that. Who is your favourite footballer, Chloe?
Harry.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Talking Wise, the podcast for logistics and self-employment.
And what it takes to scale without the wheels coming off.
I'm Chloe and I'm joined by Dan Richards, Deputy CEO, Trevor Wan, Accounts Director at Wise. Dan, who's this podcast for?
A little bit different to usual. This podcast is for anyone that engages anyone to provide services for them. So whether you're employed, self-employed or anything in between, this episode's for you.
And a quick note, this is general info, not legal or tax advice.
And we're going to keep it super practical and give you stuff to take away and action in your business immediately.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
Who is your favourite footballer, Chloe?
I'm not really a football fan, but I naturally went with Jack Grealish.
Why Jack Grealish?
For me.
I can tell you he'd be the bottom of my list for doing right to work check.
Trevor then explained that, so then I thought, okay, I get that. So then I went, who's not a footballer anymore, I don't think, but who was? Harry.
Oh my God, that's another one that wouldn't get
Just remind us, the question is who you'd get to do your right to work checks if it was a footballer.
Cute and cuddly. So that was
You
the next
definitely
favourite.
picked the two that I'd put at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
Since then, I've done some research and I'm with Jordan Henderson now.
Okay, that's
Oh.
decent. Yeah.
Captain, responsible apparently,
Yeah.
reliable.
But do you know who Jordan Henderson is?
She's a footballer, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that is true. He's a footballer.
England captain and Liverpool captain. Actually, I think he plays somewhere else now.
He does, yeah.
Saudi Arabia?
No, he's moved back now, hasn't he?
He's back, yeah.
He played for Brentford?
Right? No.
Oh, God, you turn.
Brentford, isn't it?
I
I don't know.
I'm thinking the other guy.
We won't get judged on this.
Yeah.
we won't get judged on this.
Okay.
Now, mine,
Good choice.
good choice, yeah. Mine actually is very similar cut from Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
Mr. Reliable himself, James Milner.
No idea who that is.
James Milner, you would always... James Milner's everything by the book, right? Everything by the book. He turns up. He's always reliable. He's about to be the Premier League's leading appearance maker. James Milner never makes mistakes.
Yeah, I'd say, so that's what I was thinking about actually. I think he's with Brighton, is he?
Yeah, he's with Brighton.
Yeah. So, okay. I can't believe you didn't pick Paul McGrath. After all he did for you.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Reliable there at the back.
Yeah, you're right. But he didn't train, Paul McGrath.
That's his knees.
Yeah, it was his knees, yeah. But
knees. And he had,
you know what it's like with regulation, Trevor? You got to keep on top of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And McGrath would be too busy getting a massage, lying around. So
Yeah.
now I think I know who you're going to pick,
100%.
Trevor. Right? Who would you pick?
Do your job. The only one, Roy Keane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
Can you imagine
Yeah.
Roy Keane marching down the depot one morning, going, do you have the right to work?
Yeah. You would be scared, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd strike more fear into you than James Milner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Probably would.
I reckon James Milner and Roy Keane would make a great double act, actually. You got the one, the stick and the carrot. Do you know what I mean? James Milner would come in, he'd make you a nice cup of Yorkshire tea. And then you'd know Roy Keane is chomping at the absolute bits.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You baby.
Welcome back, Trev.
Thanks, Louis.
Podcast number 2.
Really looking forward to it.
Our right to work expert in-house.
What a thing to be an expert on, eh?
It has amazed me, actually, Trevor, how you have gone from, I'm not saying knowing nothing about right to work checks, but from that to knowing probably more than anyone else that I know.
It's when you start looking at it and you see the consequences of getting it wrong. You just go, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
going to affect every business in the UK. And it's going to come into everyone's world over the course of this year and so on.
Yeah.
And it is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm spending a disproportionate amount of time at the moment talking about right to work checks, and actually, from a Wise perspective, it's good legislation for us because it falls directly into how we help our customers. But it is quite astounding, actually, how wrong people do get it and the misunderstandings out there. So yeah, it's actually a fascinating topic if you're that way inclined, as we are.
yeah. But it's great to have a solution, and we do, and that's what we're here to talk about. And we have a solution for people, So that's
great.
And to start, let's go into what a right to work check is.
So, right to work itself is a legal status, and there's two aspects to it. There's from the individual and there's from the employer. So, an individual has to have the right to work in the UK to accept work, and it's an offence and a serious offence, to impinge on that. And the employer or someone engaging someone has to check that person has the right to work in the UK. It's broke down into two categories, really. It's homegrown or global talent. So homegrown is a UK or Irish passport, and everybody else in the world is subject to immigration control, and that means they have to get a share code from the Home Office.
Okay. And are all right to work checks valid, or is there something people need to do?
Well, for right to work check to be valid, and we'll get into detail about an automated right to work check. But for it to be valid, there are clear things that has to be done. One of the things about the legislation is, while it's tough for sure, there is clarity, and as regards what it is, who has to do it, when it has to be carried out. There is real clarity there, in fairness to that. So that is easier for people that have to abide by this, which is every business in the UK.
What I do think is interesting about this is, and I said this at a talk that I did yesterday, it won't be yesterday when this goes out, but it's yesterday now. It does remove some of what felt grey around, do you need to do it for self-employed subcontractors? Whereas it's quite black and white now that yes, you do.
Yeah, so this comes back to the clarity. That's totally gone. At the moment, while the Home Office strongly recommend that you check the right to work for someone who's self-employed, this new legislation removes that. It is now very much in scope. So the self-employed workers are now very much in scope.
Yeah, and I think this is actually one of the podcasts that we're going to record that actually anyone could listen to, because this applies to everyone, doesn't it, now? I mean, it always has if you're employing people, but I think now that subcontractors are fully in scope, something that every business has got to take seriously.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And in terms of clarity, was it once confusing to do a right to work check, or?
As regards clarity around who was in scope, it's just as we discussed there about self-employed, there was some grey area there, but that's very much in it now. But as regards what's a valid right to work check, there is real clarity on that now, and that is the passport or the share code.
Yeah, I think we're going to come on to it, but I think the bit of it as well is where it is a temporary right to work is making sure that you're redoing that right to work check right when that temporary sort of part of it expires.
Yeah, and again, the new regulations, temporary leave to remain, there is talk that is going to be considerably longer period of time, which means that there could be a longer period there for a time-limited right to work. And a time-limited right to work is a fine waiting to happen, because all that's required for it to become a fine is the passage of time, and I can absolutely guarantee you.
Of course, yeah.
So that's why it is so vital that you have, functionality like we have at the Expiry Hub and so on, to alert when a time-limited right to work is about to expire.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheeky plug,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Just cheeky plug. Yeah, love that. Cheeky plug don't sound right, does it?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm in for a cheeky plug. Well, you get up to CC when you're outside. That's up to you. Yeah, that's that way. Cheeky plug.
Cheeky plug.
Yeah, cheeky plug. Yeah.
What would you say?
I don't know. I don't like the words cheeky and plug together. Just don't. They've got more than right to work.
So now we know what a right to work is. Who is responsible for a right to work?
Okay, it's really simple. If you're a business owner, it's you. It's very simple. It doesn't matter how you met the person. It doesn't matter whether it was a recruitment agency, whether it was a platform, whether it was some guy you met in the pub. Okay, it doesn't matter. you are responsible for carrying out the right to work check if you're a business owner.
I said this to someone recently, and I said, look, I'm going to go as close to home here as to say, it doesn't matter if it's your brother, right? It could be your twin. If they're providing services to you, right, and you haven't done a right to work check on them, you can be fined. That's the reality, right?
Well, it's all fine and well. You're trying to explain to the Home Office, say, well, I was on holidays with him once in Magaluf and I noticed he had a British passport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ain't going to fly.
No, it's not going to fly.
No, it's not going to fly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really important distinction there as well around that having the right to work and having a right to work check. They're two different things, right? And I think people sometimes get a bit confused by that because they'll go, well, I know he's my twin, so I know he's got the right to work, but that doesn't mean you've got a right to work check.
Yeah, you also need to be careful as well about that. You need to check everyone because, I say, for example, say when I started here, all right, Dan, if you heard his accent, someone check his right to work, okay? That is a serious breach because, apart from anything else, it's a breach of the Equality Act.
Yeah.
You can't just decide to check someone's right to work because they don't look or sound like us, for example, all right? You must check everyone.
Yeah, no, you're right. You enlightened me on something actually when you did start, Trevor, which, let's bore everyone for 30 seconds like you bored me. But Irish passports do count, right?
Yeah.
In the UK. Why? Remind me?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked actually because it goes back quite a bit. It's because of the common travel area, okay? It's not EU joining or leaving, or Brexit or anything to do with that. It goes back, it's over 100 years. It's the oldest open borders arrangement in the world. It's the most comprehensive.
Is it really?
Yeah, because, and it's reciprocal. So you two guys could come over and work in Ireland, for example. We'll get you a job.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
Cutting turf or something.
Oh, I nearly said something there.
I knew what it was. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be okay. So, and it's not just work. It's you can access services. You can vote. Again, both Irish people in England, English people in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's quite a thing.
I think the first time you bored me with this, I maybe wasn't listening because that's definitely more interesting this time around.
Okay. Yeah, note to self. Yeah,
note to self. Yeah.
I hate to be that person, bit confused. So even if, as a business owner, I'm responsible for a right to work, even if I have third-party suppliers, use agencies, I'm still responsible.
Absolutely. So if Company A engages Company B to deliver parcels, and Company B engages individual C, Company A is also responsible for checking individual C's right to work.
Oh God.
I know.
Yeah, it's an important distinction, right?
Yeah.
It comes back to the new regulation that we've been talking about around joint responsibility. I think the bit of it as well, which is important for people to realise, is that when you set up a limited company, the reason that a lot of people do that is the whole idea of a limited company is it limits liability. However, as we know with right to work checks, it extends to the directors and it can be criminal, not just civil. I think that's really important for people to realise.
The consequences are incredible, and I know we talked at the beginning about why I was interested in it, but when you do start to read into it, you go, oh my God. So there's two aspects to it. Yes, I know we're possibly going to talk about this later on again, but there is the £60,000 fines, but that's one aspect. And then if you're a director of a company and you knowingly engage with someone who you suspect doesn't have the right to work, that's potentially prison time. Disbarred as a director, and all the else that goes along with that. It's suspecting that someone might not have the right to work is a low enough bar to breach.
Yeah, it is.
People need to realise that.
Yeah,
and that there is that other aspect to it.
It's I do sympathise with people that especially use temporary workforce. That these right to work regulations are going to be an ever evolving thing to sort of manage, right? But it's just so important. That's the reality. So
Trev, when should a right to work check actually take place?
Well, again, there's a lot of clarity here. It's before you engage the person. So at onboarding, and onboarding is like the architecture for stability of your business. If you get that right, it's a great opportunity to signal to staff coming in that compliance is taken seriously here, and it's an opportunity to signal to suppliers, to customers, to competitors that there's a price to get into this club, and this is it. You get that right at the beginning. It's a great foundation. Skipping a right to work check is like paying for a holiday on your credit card. You get the tan, right? You get the haze, you get the work done straight away, but it's a long winter. It's a long winter paying off the consequences.
I like that.
You still have the tattoo, but the tan will be long gone, all right? And you'll still be paying for it.
That is a great analogy. That is a great analogy. What is interesting about that, and I think again, people listening that maybe are going, didn't do right to work checks the first time around. There is some bad news there, which is, whilst you can do a right to work check now, it doesn't absolve you of not doing it originally right. So I think it's a case of, get your house in order, make sure that you're clear and you've done the right checks going forward. But getting it right now is, it's almost, it doesn't remedy the past, but it definitely put you in a better position for the future.
Yeah, and part of our role too is to educate people, because people won't be aware of what's coming. So absolutely, from now on, at onboarding is when you check right to work, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For those companies that you said, Dan, about that haven't done it originally, what is there anything they can do, or is it just? Yeah,
I mean, again, there is clarity on this, and it's an interesting one because, especially if you're dealing with self-employed subcontractors, because you've had that sort of that grey area of it not necessarily being clear that you have to do right to work checks or not. You have got, and this is opinion for sure, you've got almost I wouldn't say grace period, it's definitely not the right word, but you've got an opportunity now to get your house in order and make sure that you've got the right checks and systems in place so that you're clear for the future. But I will be clear that when the new bill, the new regulation is law, not doing one, but then doing one today won't absolve you of the past, because, as Trevor rightly said, you need to be doing that before the engagement starts.
Yeah.
So the message is, and I know you've got a little phrase, Trevor, that you can sort of slot into this, your little slogan that you've got.
Don't sign a fine?
No, the other one actually, you're rhyming one. And you're going to get me to steal your thunder here.
The sing one?
Yeah, I think it's great. There's a lot to fix in 26.
Oh.
There's a lot to fix in 26.
The chess one?
Yeah.
The checker check only works when you see it written down.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fixed in 26.
But I think, I think, Chloe, to answer your question, I think now's the time to get your house in order. Don't wait. If you're concerned or you haven't got processes in place, then doing it now is going to, potentially save you a lot of pain later. We don't know how lenient the Home Office and people like that are going to be on it. If history serves you correctly, normally they operate a little bit of okay, well, make sure you sort this out policy. But they haven't so far with right to works. They've been pretty harsh with the penalties. And I think I saw 130 million of fines last year for not having right to works. How many arrests, Trevor?
So there was over 12,000 arrests in the last 18 months, which were the result of 17,000 raids by the Home Office. Wow. And I use the word raids because that's the words that they use.
Yeah,
they don't say visits or audits. They call them raids.
Raid strikes a bit more fear into
the
visit.
It's really
if I'm getting a visit from someone, then I'm maybe like, I'll make a cup of tea. If I'm getting a raid, you know what I mean? I'm emptying my drawers out.
Yeah. Okay, well,
but I think I've seen as well, I'm pretty sure, I don't know which way around this is, but I'd use the average of the two, that both of those two things, arrests and raids, both went up by 50% in 2025.
Oh, more, I think.
Oh, was it more?
Yeah, I think
okay.
So. And that's been because they got more funding to do it, and it's only going one way.
It's only going one way, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the actual new regulation, Trevor, and I'm going to get the words in the right order here because this is the first challenge, right?
Okay.
So we've got the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Act 2025.
Bingo.
I think you got it right. I got it right, yeah. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, well, we've read it, and more importantly, we've got some people that went to law school to read it as well.
No, okay, good start.
In some detail. So, for the environment that we operate in primarily, there's two key aspects to it. That is the inclusion of other working arrangements and extension of liability. So other working arrangements is essentially self-employed, you know. And extension of liability is where they're widening the scope, where there's more than is possible for more than one prosecution from a single breach. So basically, in logistics, as we have been talking about previously, you're talking about one company engaging another, and that company then engaging a third party to provide services for them. Once they're delivering in their name, the company A is also responsible to check the right to work of individual C.
Yeah, and I think that's a crucial part of this new legislation, right? I think that's the delivering the name of. And I mean, we always go to deliver because we're, got our logistics hats on, but it's anyone working in the name of, isn't it? So it will bring big construction sites and things like that into scope as well.
For sure, it's whoever's benefiting from the work.
Yeah.
Ultimately. So it brings a whole host of people into scope, a whole host of businesses into scope where previously.
Is it live now or is it coming soon?
So the Act is on the statute books, yes, and some aspects of it have been brought in. What we're talking about just now is expected to be brought in at some point throughout 2026. They haven't given us a date yet, but that's we're expecting to get a date quite soon, and we expect that will come into effect at some point this year. But the most important thing is now is the time. To review your processes. Now is the time to do something about it, because the last thing you want to happen is that any network anywhere gets destabilized because this came in too quickly, and which is possible. We don't want disruption to service or anything like that. So there is going to be, we are advising, a significant lead-in time to roll this out.
I think it's interesting actually because, again, I spend disproportionate amount of time talking about this, but I feel like we're one of the only companies that are actually trying to educate people on this.
Yeah.
We're just so
no one's trying to educate us.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we dug it out ourselves. Yeah, enough, didn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm talking to we are as a business talking to big global names here that they're hearing about this new legislation for the first time when we're telling them. So typical, let's not turn this into a UK government sort of diss, but typical under education on this topic, isn't there?
Yeah, but I'm sure there will be public awareness campaigns and all that about it when it is coming close to the time. I'd hope. Otherwise, we're going to be busy.
Clearly, immigration is a big topic, right, for the country or for the world, actually, in general. So, you think that there'll be a bit of a storm around this, actually, because the whole idea of it is to stop people that don't have the right to work working here. That's it, bottom line.
And practically all of the world outside of UK and Ireland subject to immigration control in the UK. It's a really, really big piece.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure.
So we've already briefly covered the risks, but can we just go over it again to make it really clear for those watching and listening?
Yeah, because it's really important. So obviously, the fines are in place, £60,000 per worker that doesn't have, if you're caught to have been engaged with someone who doesn't have the right to work. And that's for everyone, and as we discussed as well, that's up the chain to different businesses. It's not that the fine is passed on. Both businesses pay the fine, so it'll be 120 per breach in those circumstances. And then, if a business was to continue on engaging with someone who they knew didn't have a right to work, well, that's, potentially being disbarred as a director or potentially prison time, so really, really significant consequences.
Without discounting the fact that there is reputational damage, right? Because you can make HMRC or the Home Office's sort of name and shame list, right, which can make it really difficult for you to do business in the future.
Yeah, so your choice is pay the fine immediately and don't appear on the list. And if for whatever reason, if you're contesting it or anything, if you don't pay the fine immediately, you will be on the name and shame list.
Yeah.
And it's published every quarter on the Home Office website, and it makes grim reading.
It does, yeah, because I know that they do a similar thing for companies caught in tax avoidance schemes. The HMRC will put you on their sort of like watch list, don't work with, or be mindful working with these companies. It's going to be similar. And I think because of that extension of liability, companies will be taking this a lot more seriously than they are now.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's the bad PR, because I saw that Chippy man He's £40,000.
The chippy.
The chippy man.
Yeah, for sure. It is. And the extension of liability means as well, because that's the kind of PR you don't want out there, and
No.
you're going to struggle to get work.
Yeah, you definitely don't want your name or your face in the paper, do you? I mean, that bloke looked particularly sad in that picture. He looked like his chips had gone cold.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no, it's all right.
Poor
That's
guy,
not fair.
yeah.
Yeah, poor guy.
Could I say one thing? Do you know when we keep saying locked up or prison?
Well, let me.
Yeah, I keep going to, in my head, I'm singing Akon.
Saying what?
Isn't it weird that I sung Akon as well? Trevor's thinking, who the hell's
Do you know who
Akon?
Akon is?
No.
Oh, God. A rapper, is he?
Yes, no, sort of rapper / singer.
Singer.
Yeah.
But he has a song called Locked Up, so you keep saying prison, and in my head, I'm just singing that.
Why?
Locked Up in prison?
Yeah, no, but why are you thinking of Akon?
Because his song's called Locked Up.
Okay. All right, yeah.
What song would you sing? Like S Club 7?
Well, I wouldn't sing anything, to be honest with you. I'm talking about right to work. I'm not necessarily got Akon on the mind, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, if you want a theme tune for what the consequences of right to work checks could be, I mean, Locked Up by Akon probably would be a good one. Yeah, that would have been a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you pick a song?
Pick a song for the consequences of right to work checks. You know, Chloe's would be Akon, Locked Up.
Great song.
Yeah, I actually like that song. Yeah, I like that.
I like this idea.
I do as well. What, this idea?
Yeah.
Or what other songs can we think of? This is the final countdown. Yeah, because you've
Johnny
got
Cash. What did he sing a song about prison?
Johnny Cash sang a song about prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
He wrote it in prison.
he wrote it in prison.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
don't think he was in for right to work checks, was he? Yeah, I doubt it. I know Johnny Cash was locked up because he didn't check one of the fellow band members' right to work documents.
Yes.
There's bound to be loads that we could, probably think of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Lonely, another icon.
Why lonely?
You're lonely in prison.
I don't think that's the
Like,
problem. You're not.
are all yours just Akon
A
and
little
being
bit
in
of
prison?
icon. I do love a bit of icon.
I'm next going to say smack that. Do you know what I mean?
I'm out.
But you don't get smacked about by the Home Office for not having a right to work document. Akon again. Chloe, we basically established in this little section that Chloe can only think of Akon songs.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think that's one for another time, maybe. Pick your song to match your right to work consequences. And Chloe's submission is Locked Up by Akon. I think he features someone as well, doesn't it? Was it just Akon?
Don't know, not a diehard
Yeah,
fan.
it'd be great if you could feature someone as well, because then you could say they both got locked up.
Sure. You're not a diehard fan because you mentioned him 4 times on this little section.
Just a fan.
Oh, just a fan.
Not a
Okay.
diehard.
Not a diehard. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know what the distinction is there.
No,
between the two.
not
Yeah,
quite sure either
okay.
myself.
How can businesses protect themselves from right to work risk?
Okay, so really, you want to be looking at automated right to work checks, okay, to keep the process as simple as possible. Automated right to work checks are like that digital handshake that takes place when you go to tap for something and you go to pay for it. The money is either in your account or it isn't, you know, it's a yes or a no. That's it with an automated right to work check. Document is checked, it's verified, it's run through all the different algorithms that it needs to go through, and it comes back with a yes or a no. And then you have done, as an employer, you have taken all reasonable steps to check that that person has a valid right to work. And then once you do the imposter check as well, you're good and Home Office comes in.
And in this automated check, what makes it compliant? Like, what are the steps?
Well, say for example, if it's a passport, you know, there are a number of checksums in a passport, like anti-fraud measures, and all those calculations will be taking place automatically to make sure that the right number of digits are there, etc., etc.
MRZ and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
all that
Yeah,
is
it's
checked. Yeah, and then if it's the share code, well, then that goes to the Home Office, and then you have to go through that process whereby you enter the code and you get the PDF and you retain that, you know, for your records.
I know the one that we're working with obviously layers on top the ID part as well, right? So you do the liveness checks, a bit like if you've ever opened a digital bank account and they get you to do all the head stuff, you know, when you're wiggling your head around to sort of make it recognise that it's you. But they've also services like that as well, right? That will do that ID part of it as well.
Yeah, and it's really important that, okay, so if you have been interacting with someone who sends you these documents and so on, it's really important then that you check that is actually the person that shows up to work day one. You know, and you have to retain proof of that. You know, that's why we get them to capture an image and it'll be stored in our platform. Again, these are the steps that you have to take and you have to follow to give yourself what's called a statutory excuse in the event that the Home Office come in and check it. But it is really, really important that the person who eventually shows up for work is the person who has been exchanging this documentation with you.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I think, we've talked about the automated part of it. I think, to be clear about something, manual right to work checks do still suffice, right? What we're saying is the automated side of it, it's another layer of protection because you're not then almost becoming a fraud expert. Do you know what I mean? Because, spotting fraudulent documents can be tricky, but the automated part of it will almost give you that assurance.
Yeah, and you just have to remember the consequences of getting it wrong. Manual checks are fine. If that's the road you want to go down, fine, but just remember the consequences of getting that wrong.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And I think, just to touch on this, I think it is super important, and this is something that people do get confused about, the difference between right to work and a right to work check, right? So you've got to have proof that you've checked the right to work. So that typically includes putting a timestamp on a photocopy, for instance, of the right to work. If you were doing it manually, let's say, obviously if you're doing it in the system, then that might have a date and a timestamp included by default. But just having a picture of a passport isn't proof that you've done the check. You need to have that data. I know that the Home Office have some wording which almost suffices a declaration that they almost say you could attach onto a manual check if you do want to say, I so-and-so declare that I did a right to work check, etc. So I think that's an important distinction, right? The check vs the actual right to work.
Correct.
And regardless of the route, the manual or automated, how long do you have to keep the documents for?
Is it 7 years?
No, that's tax. So it's, as long as they're providing services for you, and then 2 years after they stop providing services, you have to keep a record of it. So you stop providing services today, you have an obligation to hold that for 2 years, and then you can destroy it. But the 7 years, Trevor, where you got that from, is that's for tax purposes.
Tax.
Tax. Then you got the 5 years for commercial reasons. So there's lots of different years basically you keep things for. But 2 years for a right to work check.
Just keep it.
If you do manual, that's where it gets tricky, I presume, with keep storing it, keeping it safe.
Yeah, I mean, what won't be an excuse that a raid will accept is, I don't know where I put it, it's in the drawer. It's in my drawer.
There it goes. Yeah.
It's the old classic one, isn't it? It's in my drawer. Problem is, I've lost my drawer.
Dog get my drawer.
Yeah. That one won't. Yeah, dog get my drawer, yeah. That one, that's not going to fly.
No.
So automation is the way forward, is that what we're saying?
100%.
I think, automation is definitely the best way to go. I think sort of second best is having a good system wrapped around doing manual checks if that's the way that you're going to go. I think the worst case scenario, of course, apart from not doing right to work checks, or the worst way of doing them for me would be doing them manually, having paper photocopies, keeping them in a drawer somewhere, notwithstanding the fact that you don't want to leave someone's PI available for someone to just come along and steal. So you've got all that risk, warehouse burns down, you lose all your paperwork. These are the things that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, the reality is it's very difficult to do manual checks at scale, and most of what we're talking about is at scale.
Yeah, for sure. Chloe said the statement, where do you learn general knowledge?
Yeah.
I
was about Concord, wasn't it?
Was it about Concord?
Yeah, I've never heard of Concord.
I say a lot of things that just...
Sorry, to be clear, when you said that, then you meant Chloe had never heard of Concord.
Yeah.
The flight thing.
Not the flight thing, yeah.
The flight thing.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to say something now, some words that I didn't plan on saying today. I'm fascinated by Concord, I am.
Right.
I'm really fascinated by it. I watched loads of... if I see a Concord video as I'm scrolling, I'll watch it.
Why did you fly?
Because it's just an odd thing to be fascinated by.
You won't be fascinated about it soon, right? Because Concord went from Heathrow to New York in
3.5 hours.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So we're going to have, probably this decade, right? We're going to have same day deliveries from LA to Shanghai.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Starship.
Yeah.
6 cents a pound. 6 cents a pound.
Starship.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know what Chloe's thinking. She's thinking like...
Here we go again. I know what I was thinking.
Is that what you was thinking? Is that what you was thinking?
Aliens, but I was thinking of a spaceship.
Yeah, spaceship, exactly. Yeah, aliens. Yeah, he is, yeah, but not what Chloe's thinking, mate. Okay. She's got I don't know, what's that film with Will Smith in it? You know.
Like a UFO. I was thinking of that.
That's what.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. So it's an FO. It's an FO.
It's an FO. It's a flying object.
IFO.
Yeah, it's identified flying object.
UFO means.
Oh no, they're
Unidentified.
5 flying objects.
Clever.
Yeah.
God, you learned 2 things today: right to work and aliens.
We learned aliens.
Yeah.
We learned aliens apparently.
Yeah, okay. We
Yeah.
aliens, yeah.
Yeah, we learned aliens.
Legal aliens.
Yeah, illegal aliens. I've got a good song for right to work checks. What's the song that Sting sings when he's?
I'm a alien. I'm a legal alien.
Yeah.
How about the civil servant who moved to New York?
Yeah,
Who was it? Quentin? No.
How's the song go?
Yeah, I know how the song goes.
No,
I know it goes.
Oh,
yeah.
no. How does it go on?
Englishman in New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm an Englishman in
Yeah.
New York. Whoa. I'm an alien.
Oh,
I'm
that
a
legal
legal alien.
About right to work checks because he left.
Because he's a legal alien, isn't he?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? He's allowed to be there.
Okay.
He's an Englishman in New York, Trevor.
Okay. Yeah.
You think about that. I like my toast buttered on one side.
I cannot think of the song.
Well, I've got mine now. That's it. Englishman in New York.
Okay.
Although I really like that song, but I think it gets too jazzy at the end for me. I sort of like them at the first minute and a half.
Sting kind of had notions too like that, you know. Like jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a jazzy fellow, weren't it?
Jazz drummer, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, so if a business takes just one thing away from this episode, what should it be?
I think for me, everything that I've digested about right to work checks over the last year, if I was giving a business some advice on what to do, I think it's put a robust process around right to work checks.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the degrees that you go to around automating it and everything else, are definitely going to improve your process. But I think the most important part is having a process. And as you said earlier, Trevor, making it part of the way you work, make sure it's in your onboarding process. It's a non-negotiable, I think, for businesses going forward. So I'd summarise it in put a process around right to work checks and make sure that your business sticks to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to fix in 26.
And that's the message.
That's the message.
Thanks, Loy.
Thanks, Trev.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, whatever.